Good morning, distinguished guests, Tan Sri, Datuk, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to be here. I have enough of all the virtual thing. Today I can see the real face and real expressions. And thank you for coming to this National Housing and Property Summit. Let me introduce to you my panel of panelists. We started with the Tan Sri. Is is the legendary of when you see about Country High as well as a Palace and Golden Horse. He is the gentleman who went through the thick and thin, boom and bust, and today we're going to tap his wisdom. How to prosper in this climax. And today we are very lucky to have all the panelists. You have developer, we have Mr. Fu, he is the deal maker in town. He is the valuer, he's the agency, property manager. You just name it, okay? I will have the gentleman, here is Mr. Nabeel, also a deal maker. I saw his profile, he talked about billions of deals he's been doing. And same as the Mr. Shah, also a deal maker who actually had known the industry so well. They are not dealing with developer, they deal with the investor, they deal with the bank, and I think today we should tap their brain. How to prosper in this situation. As far as this, my panel is concerned, my past president of FIABCI, Michael Gay, unfortunately, he couldn't come here. He's supposed to be the moderator. He's sent condolences to his family. His mother passed away yesterday, and our sincere condolences to him. And today, my role is not only a moderator, as well as I have to talk about a little bit of property market. Hopefully, we can share some light in this situation. As the minister just now mentions, property industry is so important. Developer borrow money to start a project, to pay for the land price, to pay for the development. Along the way, the architect, the consultant, the agency, the supplier, up to the stationery, it affects the whole entire supply chain. And this is so important that this change continue to be active and continue to be prosperous in this time. And as far as I'm concerned, at this current situation, I feel that we cannot be too pessimistic. Once you become pessimistic, you can't think of anything anymore. You just think of the bad thing. I think you have to think about optimistic. Think about when the vaccine finally December, according to the Chinese press, that will be come to the market. 600 million doses of the vaccine will be available. And I think everybody want to get out from the market to do something positive. Okay, now I want to tap into the first panelist, Tan Sri Lee. He's a veteran in the industry. He has witnessed the boom and bust of many cycles of the economics, and he has seen many black swan, I believe. Okay, and he may be in the position to advise us. Are we in the consolidation stage? What sort of pattern recovery, and whether any advice for the industry, whether we should diversify, because in this climax, a lot of developers jump into glove manufacturing, all sorts of things. And a lot of fund managers also at one point tell the industry, unless you are pure play, otherwise they won't invest into it. Then after that, they change into, I want to look at INAV. After you achieve a land banking, they say, no, I want to look at the return equity. So Tan Sri has been in this industry long enough. He probably can give us some insight. What can we do in the future, present and future, by looking at the past experience and the current situation? Tan Sri? 8 to 10 minutes, but I give you my 2 minutes, so we have 10.
Good morning. Selamat pagi. 大家早上好. Every crisis, there is opportunity. In fact, this COVID-19, let's touch on COVID-19. To me, I look at COVID-19, actually this is something that as a human, in the history, this is not new. Actually, in 1920, human also have encountered something like this. So I always encourage, especially Malaysian, how we look at COVID-19, use rukun negara, first principle, kepercayaan kepada Tuhan. And because I think this is very well written, because kepada Tuhan means Malaysia is recognized is a multi-religious country. Everybody Tuhan. And it's for us to think why humans have to go through such a testing. And I think if we take that to really look at the COVID-19, I think everyone will find opportunity in a crisis to me. Not only in our industry. So coming back, as Datuk Ko say, I'm a veteran because maybe I'm one of the oldest developer in this room. And I always think my Sifu was Tan Chin Nam, Datuk Tan Chin Nam, who last year, I think he have passed away. And talking about him, I learned a few things from him, actually. One of the things, actually, when he started his property development, he was telling me those houses he started for project in Ipoh. And double-story houses he sell. One unit, how much those days you can buy? 6,000. You can buy a double-story terrace. So I have shared this just now with the minister. We're talking about banking. And now we are thinking with the banking problem. A bank willing to, not willing to lend. And bank actually look at something very current. But this industry actually is an industry which is so important to the country. Just now, Tan Sri Michael, you say about 100. Actually, in the past, I think the statistic was about this industry, benefit, or direct connected or interconnected about 187 industry. Either it's service industry like lawyer or manufacturing industry. But now, today, I think this industry is increased. It had connected to the high tech. Tan Sri Michael Yeoh was talking about smart home. And when it connected to high tech, that, like the car industry, you make a car, go. So actually, this industry is so important to the well-being of every country's GDP. And, but also the industry, like what the Datuk Ko said, I've been going through. I tell you, first I go through to share with the people in the room. Just a very background is 1987. I was age 30, start country high. And American just have a hachung. It's called Black Friday, And that time the government described the economy as lowest ebb, and there is only a hachung. And then it's called Black Friday. It's just a stock market crash. Then it come 1997, whereby I was hit very badly. Malaysian hit very badly. It's called ASEAN financial crisis. The ringgit actually from $2.50, it suddenly go to $4.80. Yeah? And Mahathir had come out with this, pegging system. And of course, after, ASEAN financial crisis, another 2008, we have Lehman Brothers again. Yeah? And now, we have this COVID-19. Yeah? So, this is realistic in life we all have to face. But coming back to this industry, I think, very important, we talk about, our industry. I want to speak for the developer, Developer in this country actually is a main contributor to the national building. Especially our low-cost housing, Those days, those cost housing actually is all built by developer at the cost of what they call 30,000.
42,000 in KL.
Yeah, imagine, so developer in this country actually is one of the best citizen, I should say, corporate. But actually, are we getting back the treatment, same treatment back from the government or from the public? This is something all of us in this room must think. And actually, during the 1997, just to share with you, I sell a land only $8 for 20,000 square feet. And first 100 buyer come when ASEAN financial crisis, all the 100 buyer had gone away. And I had to go down, go down. I believe when they're young, I had to learn to do a salesman, to really, and I talked to a lot of those days, those professor in UPM. And some take my advice. I say, you don't buy one lot, you can afford, you buy two lot. Those days, imagine, 160,000, 120,000 for $6 and $8. Let's say 160,000. Today, the land value is 200 ringgit, that's it. So, as a developer, we only take 8 ringgit. They can, our buyer can benefit 192 ringgit. So this is something that property development is also wealth creation. So just now I have actually inside the room, I share with the minister and the reporter that actually this is something that banking system should think. The appreciation, So developer, what we should do is, when we do a development, we must actually not, like others, like developer actually should be a long term, not should be very speculative. So Malaysia, if you look at Singapore or even Thailand, I think in terms of infrastructure, in terms of this one, and even Indonesia we compare, actually we're still one of the very, very, attractive in pricing or cheap. And if with the proper policy, proper policy made by the government and match, and of course must wipe out the corruption, because a lot of approval actually is without density. Is just it. So this is something that it leaded to me. Actually, is the opportunity is something like I was very impressed that nowadays this minister come out, they always bring the DG, Director General, and we hope in the meeting like this with such a fantastic moderator, Datuk, we can actually gather the idea. So to answer, they just now say, what shall we do? To me, actually, I see opportunity. I see a lot of opportunity with this. But especially, we have to start thinking of this AI, big data. And to me, if you all known that 2 years ago, when with the new government coming in, PH government, I hope, and I say I want to do blockchain. Yeah? I want to go into cryptocurrency. So actually, I see the industry that we must very, very united, and all the housing association must really have a very good channel with the government who make policy and use back the Malaysia Incorporated concept. A few things I actually just quickly share with others. We supposed to have MPI, Malaysia property, and then government even give 25 million. But somehow or other, there's also mismatch. I don't know who studies. But things like that, property is a product that not only important to the country economy, is a product that people need, and also there's product people want. And people have to bring this their investment, whatever saving, into this industry. That's what I have to share. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tan Sri, for the insightful comment. As I say that every crisis have opportunity. I went through 86. As a fresh grad, I out of job for 6 months. I become a plumber. 97, I joined Setia. After 2 months, 3 months, financial crisis, I almost lose my job. I got pay cut. And maybe because of all these crises, I become better and better. And I also noticed one thing, like Tan Sri said, that every crisis have opportunity. I noticed one thing. Every crisis come always at the new birth of the new multimillionaire or billionaire. A young one take the opportunity to move on. And I think with all the young faces here, I think I can see potential billionaire, multi-billionaire, and billionaire, virtually will come out in a few years' time. I don't mind if I just add in. An important thing is that Tan Sri said that we must not look at developer as they're always very rich, very powerful. You don't know that we had to borrow to stimulate the economy. At the same time, some of the states still have low-cost apartment of 42,000. That's after 30 years, they sell 42,000. And we have to cross-subsidize. The price have to increase. I think Selangor will take a very positive step by doing Type E to make it more balanced. Otherwise, 700 square feet of house, how to stay? Very difficult. Now, my second panelist is none by Mr. Fu. He is not a developer, but he worked very closely with the landowner, valuable bank agency. And I want to ask him this point is, you have a close contact with so many sectors. Do you think we have reached a turning point or reached a lowest, or we are at the verge of climbing up? And do you think you can get us a cheaper land price? Because the price of the property cannot go up. One of the 20% to 20% of the component of the property is on the land cost. So I need to ask him this question: is it the right time for the investor to get into the market, or shall we wait later? Mr. Fu, can I have your comment, please?
Thank you. Very good morning. First of all, thank you, KSI, for inviting me as a panelist. It's an honor to be sitting here, especially with Tan Sri, right on my right-hand side, veteran. I'm looking at this perspective. To me, I'm very optimistic about the market at any point of time. There's an opportunity time. Of course, I think we need to really not just based on the instinct going into the market, whether you are investor, big player, or just a house buyer on the hunting trip to get the right asset. To me, this opportunity time like this, I've seen a lot of assets which previously are not available in the market and become available. So opportunity time for people to pick up some of the 5-star hotel in the certain area have not been available. Suddenly they are. Now at the seller are more reasonable. I say in terms of the pricing, they are prepared to listen to offer. So opportunity time. I agree with Tan Sri. I think in every crisis there are opportunity, and you really need to go down. Of course, I mentioned it's no longer you are looking at herd instinct. You are looking at very much on appreciation play. So at this market like this, you have to really go to the fundamental, which is very much yield driven. Okay, so we are fortunate. I say this is, even though we are in the COVID-19 pandemic, we are fortunate because the market has been on the walking like a crab since 2014. We are fortunate. Even with this pandemic, I do not see a hard landing. If at all, we're going to very soft landing, especially in the even residential market, which is dominated almost 65% of the entire transaction. So perhaps I think these are the bigger component of the market, and I don't see sort of hard landing. So we have been going sideways since 2014. So again, a very moderate, and to me, the growth for 2014 until now is in the region. If you look at the long-term rate, for the last 15 years, probably we are still growing at a rate of about 5.5%. So that, in fact, have been good. That in line with the wealth in terms of the growth of salary, which is perhaps about 4.5%. With the pandemic, will go down to 4%. So at least the gap is not far away. So I think the issue here is, everybody talking about whether our price of housing is overpriced, or are we looking at the other side of the coin, our income have not grown enough? I think perhaps the policymakers should look into how we are blaming one segment of the market, which is developer are pricing their price overpriced, or are we still not have the so-called political will to push our income level to higher, to afford our people to pay more for housing. So I agree with Tan Sri. I think we should forget about low-cost housing. I think that is really, if we are going into as a high growth economy, I think we need to do justice to the people in B14 or M14. Those houses perhaps is probably need to improve. Okay, gone are the day we're having a small 40 square meter of space where you have a family of 6 living in there. So this is the thing. So to me, I look at this opportunity during this growth period. I say it's still a good time because if we compare to the last 2 crises we have, the interest rate regime are very high. We are talking almost double digit, Tan Sri. Correct? We are paying about between 12 to 13% interest. The compound interest within the 5 years, everything double. Today, we're having a very low regime in terms of borrowing below 2%. So this is a good thing. So perhaps developer or buyer are prepared to hold the property much longer. So that would not really put a lot of pressure on your pocket. Opportunity time to buy, actually, even during the crisis to me. Datuk, I hope that answers your question.
Okay. I just want to thank you for the comment. I also get sometimes very confused. When we talk about the prices of housing among Malaysia, say, oh, very high, very high. When we talk to foreigner, we say, Malaysian property is the lowest among all. And I don't know which one is which, but actually it's both. I think the key is what Mr. Fu is the income. Have not gone up. People cannot afford. And then bring me to another comment is a bank loan. A lot of banks just assess the situation or the person earning at that particular time and then give them this sort of low margin. They don't look at the potentially. I mean, the graduate 5-10 years, of course they earn such a low income. How to save for, let's say, 100,000 of cash? Usually they go back to the parents. Fortunately, the parents, a baby boomer can afford that. If not, they were stuck with no enough money to pay for the down payment. I hope the bank will review the policy, not just look at the person earning at that particular time. What is the potential? Give them 95%. What's wrong with that? You started your first 10 year career with a very low income. You need a house. I think the bank should review that. Another thing that I want to comment is, Mr. Fu say it's the right time. It's a good time to look at a good property to invest. During the peak, usually people say the price can go up further. And sometimes they get it wrong. And when they're low, they say don't go in. And those are the fellow who know that it is at that point a low they buy, they go up. If you look at 86 and 97, most of people say, oh, the price is really peak, market's no good. And those people, I got a lot of purchasers who bought at that time at the low. Most of them make a lot of money. Like Tan Sri said that the house buyer make more money than developer. This is actually very, very true. You know, for example, in 2004, we launched a CBRE 659,000 in Eco Park. Today is 1.7, 1.8 million. At that time, we just earned maybe 20%. Today, the purchaser make a lot of money. So, in summary is, you want to invest now at a low. Maybe you have to watch your timing and type of product, but don't chase after when it's at the high. Am I correct, Mr. Fu? So please invest if you can. Okay. Right. I want to go back to the third. My panelist is. I need to ask him a few questions also. You have closed many deals, and you are very optimistic at the market. If you think about Malaysia at this point in time, you look at the supply and demand. Are we at the right cycle, and are we having this environment? Whether the banking sector can continue to give fantastic amount of margin to the buyer, not only for Malaysian but international buyer.
Thank you. Well, thank you, KSI, for having me on this panel. It's very exciting to be here in front of you and speak to you guys. As far as the question, we get a lot of queries from, especially from foreign investors. Sorry, just going back to the point about incomes and house prices. Malaysian property, whether it's residential, commercial, whatever it is among the cheapest is among the least expensive in the region and globally. So it cannot be the property prices that are too high. Then you look at the income levels, and I think I was at a talk about a year ago where Datuk, the CEO of Maybank, was saying that he started. Essentially, in the 25 or so years he's been at Maybank, salaries of fresh grads in that period of time haven't even doubled. So it sort of gives you an idea of how slowly incomes go up, which makes the affordability that much more difficult. In terms of affordable housing, actually Malaysia has one of the most successful affordable housing systems in the world, relatively. I did my MBA dissertation on affordable housing, so I looked into that. But, it's just, I think it's partly that you're next door to Singapore. And in Singapore, the HDB, that gets talked up. But Malaysia actually has one of the most successful affordable housing regimes in the world. In terms of your question, Datuk, where we are in the cycle, I think that, it's easy for the layman to look out the window and say, oh, I see so very many cranes. There's a lot of overbuilding going on. But I think what you'll find is that any sector, whether it's office, whether it's retail, whether it's resi, yes, there's a lot of product being built, but a lot of it also is not the right type of product, or it's not very good quality. So I think for both developers, investors, anybody associated with the market, there are opportunities. You just have to be a bit more discerning in sort of what you look at. In terms of foreign buyers coming into Malaysia, let's see, where do I go with this? We've got, so after GE14, the query started picking up again. You'll recall about, 2007, 6, 7, 8, we saw a lot of foreign funds come in, buy office buildings. Most of them have exited by now. BlackRock's gone, Union is gone. 2010 to 15, we saw a lot of the foreign funds come in and buy retail, the likes of your ARA, your Pramerica. A lot of them still hold assets. So there is foreign interest in Malaysia still. I think that it's, just from the outside looking in, the politics are always a bit of a concern, or unfortunately have been a bit of a concern the last few years. But I think, even within Malaysia, you've got so many, part of the, I suppose something that I found very different about the Malaysian investment market when I moved here is just the size of your GLCs and your funds, and there's so many of them, and they have such an ability to impact the market. So I think that is there enough finance out there to go around for everybody? I would say possibly not, but is there enough finance to go around for the good products, the good developments, the better quality developments? I think there is. Bankers tend to be no one's a banker here, but bankers tend to be, they tend to sort of brush everyone with the same stick. You either fit in the box or you don't. And I think one of the quotes that always comes back to me about banking is, you can only get a bank loan if you don't need it, right? The people who actually need money can't get a bank loan. But I think that, for the better quality stuff, there is investment interest in it. And Mr. Fu has probably seen the same, that even in times like this, there still are transactions happening. They're happening slower, but there still are transactions happening. And I think that, as the last sort of peak in the cycle, I'd say, was probably late 2014, early 2015. Couple of embassies were sold at quite high prices, and after that, everything sort of came down. So I think the market's been struggling for, going on 5 years now, and I think for a lot of developers, and Tan Sri, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people in the market have just said, look, it's time to get on with it. Yes, we're worried about the virus. Yes, but you just take the precautions. We can't just sit there and not do anything for how long, right? Sorry, I don't know if that answers your question, but okay.
Right. Thank you very much. I may put some comment also on the, we only have about 31, 32 million of populations. We cannot keep on buying property. Of course, the young ones keep on graduating, keep on starting a family, they need to. But then we have the balance of some of the high-end products. If I look at Melbourne as well as London, the whole economy is generated by the good foreign investment. The students spend their parents' money there, create a fantastic education environment for people to come. I think Malaysia, we need to. We cannot only depend on our domestic demand. We need to create an environment. If we can create something like Melbourne, we got a right type of people to come to Malaysia to spend. If I get the statistic correct, the Malaysia My Second Home, in 2018, there are about 5,610 applicants, and they spend about 4 billion in the country. From the renter, from the car rental, from the educations, from go to insurance, all sort of things. And 2019, I think they got about 6,000 plus applied to Malaysia My Second Home. They estimate about 4.9 billion. And you create a new industry, the MM2H, the agency are doing well, and they set up an office in Hong Kong. I think today we must not only develop our domestic market, focus and M40, we have to create wealth. We have to attract the right types of investor, or people want to come to Malaysia for silver hair program, or they think our education is good enough, they must come in. That itself, I think we have to talk to the minister again. Can we revise Malaysia My Second Home? A lot of the Hong Kong, yesterday I read the news in the Morning Post, a lot of them actually put in money application, and suddenly the applications just went dead. And we need to attract these people who come here to spend money, to retire here, to stimulate our economy. I think we have to create that environment for people to come to Malaysia. Another thing is we want to put forward to Mr. Shah, the GDP throughout the global have been negative except China. It's all the bad news. Do you think what types of shape of economy recovery will have if the vaccine is already started to use? If you read BBC or CNN or Redex, they actually report only on the Western vaccine. But if you want a balance of view, you look at the eastern side of the news. They actually already announced that Chinese vaccine will be out by December. I just reported what I have read, and the cost is about 1,000 renminbi for 2 dosage. So those are the things we are interested in at this point of time. If we have reached a point or turning point, we want to know is at the economy recovery, if the vaccine is started to use, how fast can we recover, and what can we do to resume the business as usual? And I think one more thing I worry about is that I think the economy is able to answer throughout the world, everybody printing money. This all excessive quantitative measure. What have an impact on the economy? Is there too much money chasing a little bit of profitable business? Give us the insight of your world economy.
Thank you, Datuk. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Tan Sri, Michael Yeo, and Jessica, and KSI for having me over here. I think what I shared at the start of the year, global economic outlook, I said macroeconomic stability becomes a huge question mark. And that was, when the COVID-19 actually started. And I don't see the market settling down very soon. 2020 and 2021 will be the year of survival. I have seen financial history very closely with my eyes when Tan Sri mentioned about Lehman Brothers. 18th March, Tuesday, 2008, base terms went down. I was in Chicago. I was studying over there. 15 September 2008, Monday, Lehman Brothers went down. So I know each and every moment starting from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening. So if somebody tells me that US economy is booming, I normally ask them, are you on drugs or you're living in delusion of grandeur? So my late father was a journalist. I have spent 5 years in US, 3 years in Chicago, 2 years in New York. I understand the market inside out. My best friends are Americans. I have friends that Datuk mentioned, from CNN to Wall Street, you name it and I have it. I have grown up attending people from BBC and AFP coming to my house, and I have been brought up in this culture. But I'm not a journalist by training. I'm a trained economist from Chicago. So what Datuk just said, the global economy has been very, very volatile. 2008 December, when Fed actually started this quantitative easing. And 12 years later, it is still going on. What happened last week, we all saw it. Tesla went down by 80 billion market cap. Apple, 150 billion, which is roughly like the market cap of McDonald's. Amazon lost $221 billion. That is roughly like 75% of Malaysia's GDP. At the start of the year at Juwai IQI, we sent newsletter. And there's something that is very special and important. It says from the desk of Shan Saeed. I said at the start of the year, investors will lose $25 to $30 trillion in equity markets alone. By 31st March, investors have already lost 31.2 trillion. And as of now, when I speak, investors have lost $47 trillion. It's massive. So what Fed has done, it has distorted the market. The valuations are all-time high. We are in a situation where markets are being pulled in two directions. One is COVID, and the other is central banks' liquidity. Who is going to win? Obviously, you know what Datuk Ko just said. The vaccine is out. Follow the Chinese media. They are more reliable. The mainstream media, they're a huge question mark. You know, I don't follow real mainstream media. I follow the Chinese media. In school, where I'm in Pakistan, we studied about Chinese history. I have been following Chinese economy since 2001. 7 January 2011, I was standing in New York talking about Chinese yuan. My topic was Chinese yuan currency for the emerging markets. There were 200 American investors and they were laughing at me. And half of the crowd left. And the only person who believed in my insight was my Nobel laureate professor, Gary Becker, who flew down from Chicago to New York. And I told my professor, come and see me in action. He gave me 7 out of 10. The audience gave me 0, 2, 3. Because sometimes the audience are not exposed. The American investors and American people, their geography is zero. Their history is zero. They don't really understand how to do basic maths, you know. If I were to ask any 18-year-old boy and girl to do quick maths, they won't be able to do. So I think the market will continue to stay volatile. Europe, look at Europe, you know. Europe has become irrelevant. Brexit is a pure shenanigan, you know. So the market moves towards Asia. Asia, lockdown started, MCO, 18th March. We sent out a newsletter to our investors that China is coming back in the market by May. By May, China already reported a trade surplus. So the good part and the bad part is the market is distorted. The good part is China is back in the market. So China is very much aggressive. And I was fortunate enough that I attended the World Bank and IMF annual meeting 2017, courtesy my professor. The first topic was Belt and Road. And the countries that were mentioned were Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Djibouti, Pakistan, Russia, Turkey, Iran. These are the important players in Belt and Road equation. China will never leave Malaysia for the rest 50 to 100 years because of Malaysia's geography. You have 124 straits in this world. Out of 124, only 2 are important. Strait of Malacca and the other is Strait of Hormuz. 40% of global oil supplies move through Strait of Malacca and Strait of Hormuz, which is close to Iran. 80% of China's trade move from west to east through Strait of Malacca. The third strait that is getting very important is Bab al-Mandab, which is close to Djibouti. So China is coming back into the market. They have been able to control this virus very successfully. And now the newspapers and media, they are talking about the second round. And they're saying that November, December could be very severe than the first round. So I hope, the medicine will come back into the market. This is about global economy. Coming back to ASEAN. ASEAN is a growth story. 630 million people, roughly $3 trillion of GDP. This is where the growth is. Consumerism, young population, demographics, productivity, people are tech savvy, and people are using technology. In the next 5 to 10 years, only those economies will boom where you have technology, where governments will use technology to boost or to buttress growth. Coming to Malaysia. I wrote just what I'm sharing with you in my newsletter yesterday, that we expect Malaysia to stabilize. We are moving away from recovery to the stabilization mode by Q4 2020. Ringgit will continue to maintain structural stability. For December last year, I was talking to Panama. I said Ringgit will be trading between 397 and 430. 23rd March this year, Ringgit was trading at 444. My friends from press and media, they said, Shan, 444 Ringgit. People are saying Ringgit is going to crash again. I said, don't worry, sit back and relax, take a glass of cold water, nothing will happen. Ringgit is going to appreciate because US dollar is going down. As of now, after 175 days, 23rd March, as of today, Ringgit is trading at 4.15. It has actually appreciated 6.5% against USD. Coming back to real assets, what Tansari just said, he is not 100%, but I would say 200% correct. In every crisis, there is an opportunity. And in this crisis, one gentleman has emerged significantly. Who is holding Malaysia's flag is the Director General, DG, Dr. Noor Hashim. He has and he has done a remarkable job, And in the Western countries, they're talking about Malaysia. Malaysia is one of those countries where the government and all the stakeholders have worked together and they have controlled this virus. And people, again, it goes down to the stakeholder, the biggest stakeholders of this country, because they're educated, they understand what is going on. They have been quite accommodative and listening to the government. Malaysia will have a GDP growth of under 2%. This is quite optimistic, but it is achievable. Aggregate demand is coming back. And in the last, I would say, people who understand history and economics, they have always taken position in two asset classes. One is real estate, and the other is gold. And I was speaking at PNB event last October, and I'm sharing the same, that we need to increase the income level. We need to be agile. At Juwai IQI, our year-to-date sale is 4 billion. We are very aggressive. My colleague George is sitting. My background is I was the captain of my school hockey team. In hockey, it's a very fast track game, All of us at IQI, we are very aggressive. And we are very hopeful that by year end, we will be able to achieve 8 billion ringgit of our sales target. Because we have got 10,000 agents, we are using technology, AI, big data, everything. This is the in thing. This is in vogue. Big data technology is here to stay. If you want to stay relevant, you will adopt technology. If you want to live in a stone age, then you don't use technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think American had lost a fantastic brain, Mr. Shah actually come from America, now left with them without good economics there. Anyway, this is a joke anyway. I just want to ask you one more question about at one point we see the Belt and Road, the China Belt and Road was created such a momentum. What do you foresee China will do amid the trade war? Will China continue to push the Belt and Road to stimulate the world economy?
I think when trade war started, the basic premise was to control China. I have been following Chinese economy since 2001. I have read Chinese history. I have read Confucius. 95% of Chinese, they follow Confucius. And what is happening right now, Chinese are very smart people, let me tell you. In every class in US, I have more Chinese friends than Americans, but my American friends are the best because I get most of the information from them. And my Pakistani friends, my school friends that I known for the last 33 years. What I like about Chinese, they're very hardworking people, especially from mainland. My best friend, his name is Shan. And if you want to follow China, follow Shan. Shan studied from Harvard. We met in New York in 2009 in a Harvard alumni networking session. We are good friends. We talk often. What I like about Chinese that they think about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ahead. They don't think about, okay, what I am going to have tomorrow. And they save money. Chinese consumers have $2.7 trillion in saving. UBS total AUM is $2.6 trillion. So Chinese are very smart people. Belt and Road has been halted. It is understandable. Americans wanted to control China. But I still remember the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, when he was talking, he said President Xi Jinping said that Belt and Road is not a private garden for Chinese to benefit. It's a public garden for everyone to benefit. I am from Pakistan. I can tell you the movement that has taken place because of China. China is investing $100 billion in CPEC. CPEC is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The total quantum of Belt and Road is $1.4 trillion, which is roughly like 12 times of Marshall Plan that was initiated in 1952 to recover Europe when after the Second World War. The second thing what I like about Chinese people, in the last 35 years, very few people actually know, China has got 800 million people out of poverty. It's massive. Population of 1.4, they have got 800 million people out of poverty with female literacy of 98%. In 1985, there were only 5,000 students going to China. By 2018, there were 660,000 Chinese students, roughly like 13,000% increase. And I've always said, if you want to change the economic destiny of the nation, you have to invest in female education. This is not, by the way, my idea. This is my mother's idea. I have stolen this idea from my mother. So what I'm doing right now is plagiarism. So what China has done, they have invested in their female education. Look at Vietnam. When I was speaking at PNB, I gave the example of Vietnam. 1990, Vietnam poverty level was 62%. What does it translate to? Out of every 100 people, 62 people are living below poverty line. That is $2 or less. That is 8 ringgit or less. After 30 years, Vietnam's poverty level is less than 5%. So what they have done? Factory workers, 2 million factory workers, 80% are women, 1.6 million are women. So they have invested in female education. And I have been saying it for my own country, Pakistan, that if we want to change the economic destiny of our nation, we have to invest in female education. And the other thing that I closely follow about China is infrastructure. Infrastructure has direct correlation with GDP growth. In 1964, one of my professors, Robert Fogel, Nobel laureate, he studied about American railroad system and Japanese railroad system called Shinkansen. And he came up with this analysis how railroad system, the high-speed train that everybody's obsessed about, Singapore, Malaysia, China.
Okay. Maybe we just have 1 minute because...
Okay, I'm done. Infrastructure has direct correlation with GDP growth. We need to have infrastructure. Singapore, Malaysia, infrastructure is badly needed. Thank you.
Okay. While you talk about America, I thought the people, the migrants from this South Asia, Pakistan, India had conquered the American corporate, Google, HSBC, you name it. Even the British Home Minister and Finance Minister all come from that area. So actually doing well as well, no? Okay, I want to sort of give a bit of input on certain things. I want to put things a bit simplistic. As a developer, we buy land, we sell. None of us want to build up stock. None of us. We really want to develop an honest living and develop and make money. But the key thing is for us is, I think the government, I will talk to, on behalf of FIABCI, I talk to government, you must make sure we have to concentrate on national growth. We must concentrate to create jobs. We must create the higher income. Otherwise, we are left behind. And as far as the government are concerned, they are probably were monitoring the economy. Hopefully, they won't be overheated, too speculative, so that they will be a healthy supply and demand. As this industry is so important, I think the government should concentrate on national growth. I benefited from that. During the 1986 and 97 crisis, Malaysian government actually put in a lot of economic stimulations. 86, I was out of job, and then the government came in, the rural water supplies, the highway, a lot of us got a job, and it actually spin off after that. 97, government was a bit tough in the finances. So they asked SP Setia to, why don't you involve in the infrastructure? One of the phases we launched, we only sold 5 units. We had to cancel the wholesales. and the government came in the stimulation package. Can you design, construct, and finance the infrastructure work, which we have spent about, we actually got involved a few $100 million. And after that, the economy took off. And I would really want to see the government to put in that sort of economic stimulation package. Make sure that every penny is actually go to economy. I don't want to say anything else. I think you'll understand what I say. It is better for the government to come up with a national policy to stimulate the economy. We can't afford just based on private sector. Private sector, there is a limitations. They have to pump in. But if I heard correctly, the double tracks, the high-speed rails, they are actually in the planning now. I think they will cost a lot of economic stimulations. Another thing is I may want to refer this question to Tan Sri. Do you think at this point in time, the whole world is in a sort of a same situation? Do you think Malaysians should cross-border invest in other countries, like go into China, go into Indonesia, Philippines, to extend beyond our 31 million populations? Tan Sri?
Yes. Of course, I think Malaysian, actually, you will see a lot of Malaysian corporate who actually still stand very well. I have a lot of Chinese friends, actually, either SME. Actually, they all do very well, even overseas, and they enjoy here. And based on this historical fact, definitely with this, what I call crisis, and I think Malaysian entrepreneurs should actually look at that. In fact, China actually, besides they are very aggressive, Belt and Road, but China, I think they also welcome to go in, welcome investment into China. And the most important thing to me, actually, we talk about vaccine. I also just want to share a bit during this. I met Dr. No Hisham, Tan Sri No now, about 10 days ago, and actually talk about vaccine because there's two companies, one called Sinovac vaccine, Sinovac and Sinopharm. Actually, whatever it is, I think Tan Sri No is doing a very good job. Don't expect this vaccine can be found on December after I talk to him, because I think for Malaysia, I think he's such a good goalkeeper. Even you got a vaccine, actually it's mutating. Yeah? The COVID-19 is mutating, and you must do a proper clinical trial. So for the vaccine, even I'm talking about Malaysia, I think China, they started. And so I think we better make sure we have 2 years, not too long, 700 days only. Get yourself prepared. Don't be too overexcited, say this thing will get over. And for me, actually, if you time, actually I have a lot of idea to share. Talk about Malaysia, my second home. I have met actually the Home Minister, and I even proposed to him what I call wellness visa. And he also talked about Malaysia, my second home. The problem is also political, you know. We have to make sure our Malay friend here, whoever in the room, go and tell all other Malay friends, don't have a phobia on China. If this country want to get back to our footstep and things like listen to the chief economy, we definitely have to leverage on the China, their economic strength. And because imagine China got 400 million middle income people now, not only come out for property. And if they say they come here for long-term stay, and each one they bring 1 million, it's only 1 million, and they spend $10,000. But I think the minister, after we talk, beside this, actually, I think the country going to, I hope they really do it. Sometimes they say they don't do it. Is to out of 30 million, they say, I'm going to do 1% population, and anybody, Malaysia, my second home, they want to increase 1 million US. Of course, I tell him it's a bit high, but I thought things like that will really stimulate. But to your question, across to invest in others. But first thing, we must make ourselves we can travel. So to also share with you, when I see Tan Sri No, actually, I'm very passionate in membership airline. That's one of my dreams. And if imagine if we have, with this COVID-19, you don't want to travel with strangers. So membership means you travel with members, you know each other. and we create a totally green lane. They mean your captain's green, the plane's green, even your own transport is green. And we tell the country we can quickly, with this protocol, that the high net worth people can travel to those countries and not to be quarantined for 14 days. So if you ask me, one of the first thing is, we can go outside to invest, but the first thing, this 14-day rule. You go there, you quarantine 14 days, come back, quarantine 14 days. The cross investment will not be possible. So all these things, I think, is give opportunity to entrepreneurs to overcome it. Anyway, I really enjoy this session, but a lot of things that we want to share, we can share, but no time to share, but I give opportunity is, I have a Facebook also. Normally when I come here, I will summarize, so maybe whatever idea, you can watch my Facebook. Thank you.
Okay. We recognize that our population domestic demand is limited. I think what Tan Sri say, we are cross boundary. We are talking about in the future, get yourself prepared. I'm actually sitting on the China-Malaysia Qingzhou Industrial Park on the board. And I found that Malaysians, before even the COVID-19 came in, Malaysians tend to be very comfortable. They don't really want to grow. Some of the factories owner, like paint manufacturer, the OEM, they don't seem like they want to get out. They got a phobia, you know. But I think for those ambitious ones, China has opportunity, 1.4 billion. You can't talk China. China is like first world, second world, third world country combined together. Opportunity is up to you to find. But what I'm trying to say is, you have this time, you can ponder whether you want to get out from the country to do something. I happened to have opportunity a few years back when I went to the China in Beijing award Setia, a CMQIP project, China Malaysia Industrial Park award ceremony for one of the best investment. We found that a lot of Malaysians making money quietly there, you know. They don't talk about it. And you can't imagine what sort of business in there. And they're doing very well, but they don't talk about it. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, we can ask Tan Sri to give us this sort of wisdom because he's in the game for long enough.
To our Malay brother and sister, Malaysian, actually, Nabi Muhammad, actually 1,500 years ago, have said a very key word, Utulumu ilmu wala bisin. Tuntukan ilmu walau jauh di Tionghoa. And that is the truth, you know, because of that word, today, China, there is a mosque in Xi'an, 1,500 years. And today, there's 30 million Chinese Muslim. And they are not convert. Their history is about 1,000 years, 800 years. So I think with this COVID-19, I think Malaysian, we should really actually, because of our kebahagiaan, kadis, and we think we should not have this phobia, you know, when talk about China, want to come, phobia, and especially the ugly politicians. So we need really those very open-minded, our Malay brother and sister, to really help to promote. If we want to get back after the COVID-19, we want to get back our economy, everything very fast. The country to look at is not American anymore, you know. The country to look at, distant to Mr. Shan, actually is China. And we don't have a phobia with it. We actually, even the Chinese in this country, actually look at, actually developer majority are Chinese, you know, and how we build. And we should not, as long we just share the prosperity, that's all. And I think this is very important. Thank you.
I think I want to summarize it, then we open up to the floor for further question. I think from all the speakers, the panelists say very clearly, it is an opportunity for the investor want to go into property, whether investment, whether in other form. Malaysia is still very resilient. As far as 2021, you're probably a survival mode, a volatile market. But take into Malaysia in the right location, our ringgit is strengthening, and our relationship, our neighboring are quite strong. And geographically, we are having a Strait of Malacca next to us, and all the trade routes are passing by. from the summary of it, they say that foreign investment is always on the high side. It's just a temporary pause for a while due to the pandemic. In conclusion, I think we should be optimistic. We should be, human race are always very resilient. We recover from every crisis. And there is no exceptions. I think we are in the right place. And all to do is we need the government to complement us. Like Malaysia, my second home, must open up already. Since July already closed, and all the application will return to the agent. There are 200 agents actually out of jobs, Today they are in hawker store, all this thing. And most of them asking for help. I think at the FIABCI, Malaysia, maybe KSI, probably we want to approach the government, quickly open it up, get ready. I'm not saying that you can travel now, but it's always a preparation jobs that we need to do. And the second thing is the stimulation package by the government. Sometimes they need big infrastructure to kickstart the whole economy. So in general, everybody is optimistic. Try to be optimistic. Do not despair. And I'm looking forward to see another few years' time, a few young millionaire, billionaire emerge from this group of people. It happened in 86. It happened in 97. Nothing wrong. It happened in 2022. So I'm looking forward to meet the young one. Potentially, we have an opportunity to rub shoulder with the future leaders. Okay, thank you very much. Now we have about 15 minutes. Thank you. We want to open to the floor 15 minutes. If you have any question, any wisdom you want to learn, this is the right opportunity. If not, Tan Sri, he got a Facebook. Okay.
Hi, my name is CL. Thanks, Tan Sri and panel speaker for sharing. That's interesting. Because when I see this topic, it's actually what the market wants, right, for post-COVID. Maybe we do not have a post-COVID because there will be a next norm, right? The question is here. Is there any other strategy like invest to sell? Because I actually bring this up because of rent to own. So those are the things that will change the whole market spectrum. The question will be to Tan Sri as well as Mr. Shan. So all these new things, what is your opinion and how will we actually change the market? Yeah.
Maybe it's an economist question.
Thank you. Very relevant question. I can share my experience with IQI. At the start of the year, or when I joined IQI in 2013, if you recall, one of the analysts from a local bank, he said KL properties will crash like Dubai. But that analyst never went to Dubai. After 7 years, where is the property market standing? If I were to tell you, if you have 100 million ringgit, and you say, Shan, I've got 100 million ringgit, and find me a land in Valaya or around KL, 3 acres, 5 acres, you can't find land. So people have been making sweeping statement that Malaysian property market is in a bubble, is going to crash. What is the definition? The definition is when land prices are crashing, that is a sign of a bubble. Yes, there are some areas where property prices are going up like this, and there are some areas where property prices are moving in a very structured manner. So I think getting human intelligence report, why sophisticated and smart investors, they follow Juwai, IQI, because we don't share tabloid stories. We don't share Cinderella stories. Everything that is documented comes based on critical reasoning. It is based on value-driven approach. And lastly, it is based on substance. Why? And a small company like IQI with 30 agents in 2013, and after 7 years, we have more than 10,000 agents. Despite the market is soft, we have achieved 4 billion ringgit of sale. People were saying after COVID, after the lockdown, 18th March, market is going to crash. We adopted technology at a very fast pace. Everybody went to Facebook. And in this market, you have two strategies. Number one, either you are aggressive or you are passive. Investors, every investor has got funds. He or she is looking for someone to hold his or her hand. My background is, I'm a banker, former banker at Standard Chartered. And one of the things I learned from my boss is, you need to have an engagement strategy in these tempestuous times. People want to talk, investors want to talk. if you are standing in the market, people will talk to you. But if you are standing on the sideways, I don't want to do anything, the market is bad, the market is soft, let's wait till 2022, then you're gone. Then you have not been able to capture that, potential investor. As you said, at IQI, everybody is very aggressive. My background is, I was a captain of my school hockey team, So my coach made me like this. I was very passive. He said, no, you have to attack. So our strategy at IQI is don't give your opponent, our competitor, a chance to move into the market. We are very aggressive. So gather a human intelligence report. What is happening in that particular area? Mount Kiara, Old Klang Road, KLCC, Desa Pataling, all these areas. Get the market intelligence report. There are opportunities. What Tansari just said, there are opportunities in every crisis. So I think gathering market intelligence report, talking to people. The thing is how people buy property in Malaysia. I am buying property. I told Nabeel buy in Mount Kiara. Nabeel said to someone else, okay, buy. So do your homework, and get the market intelligence report. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think sorry.
Invest to sell, always. There's opportunity. Especially just now I say property very long term. But first you need to have money. All right. You need to have a fund. But unfortunately, we look at why the world is getting so much problem. Actually, a lot of people now, they are not thinking invest to sell. Actually, it's speculative to sell, A lot of people want to go very speculative. And then, actually, you look at the property product have been taken by all the bankers, either turned into a financial instrument and become very, very speculative. I think this is something that property developer all have to sit down together and really start thinking how to really, and actually making money is a long-term investment, and then you hold certain time you sell. So definitely with this COVID-19, it really provide a lot of opportunity for those people, a long-term player, and you are prepared to invest into the good property and make sure, and property over time you really appreciate. But you have to come out nowadays with investment. You have to come out a very innovative packaging like using this fintech things like that. So I think invest to sell, especially at this moment, actually provide you really, really golden opportunity, especially for young generation. Thank you.
Sir, you have a comment, please?
I just also wanted to say we've spoken about COVID quite a bit, but what we haven't touched upon is the use of property, as a result of COVID. You speak to somebody on the street and they'll say, well, the office market is dead. Why? Because everyone's going to work from home, right? So you might as well not invest in office space anymore. We've done studies around the world, actually, through our workplace planning unit, which shows that if you've got half your workforce working from home for a typical bank that's got, sort of one workstation per every 10 square meters, if half of your people are working from home, but you have a requirement for a 2-meter social distancing, that alone cancels out the effect of having half your people work from home. So, the thinking that we're seeing now is that, yes, there'll be a period where, use of office space, do we work from home? Do we, are you working from a third place? Are you working in the office? That'll take some time to settle. But I think that, the traditional sort of property categories or property sectors that we've all grown used to, office, especially the commercial ones, office, resi, these, I wouldn't necessarily just count them out. I think there's a lot of sort of, I suppose, on the streets wisdom, for lack of a better word, that, I would really question where the opportunities are and not take anyone's word for it necessarily, including mine.
Can I just add in?
Yes.
Touching on the strategy, I think the question is more on strategy. How are we going to move forward during this critical period? I would go back to my principle just now. I think all these things have to be very much yield-driven. Opportunity time like this, I think, as mentioned, the seller are a lot more accommodative, prepared to listen to any offer that you throw in at them. For instance, even developer now, I was told, they are no longer looking at what has been price listed by them. They are prepared to listen to the offer. So, bargain hard. Okay, if you have cash, throw in, put in file a developer, this is my offer to you, take it or leave it. right? The opportunity time, right? Like any player, I think in the investment market you are coming in, the strategy now is generally to look in. I look forward. I think a lot more deal will be done on buy and lease back. Okay, you have to really gone through at least a period of 2 years, like Tan Sri say. Maybe next 2 years, we do not know. The vaccine really work. Because if vaccine is not talking about work in Malaysia, the entire world. Can you imagine? You can have 139 countries, but one country missing them out. How are you going to do the world lockdown? Right? So the entire world have to be vaccinated. Only we are safe. It's not about one country. So similarly, I think in the long-term investment, look at the property very much long-term investment. So you have to really weather through the next 2-3 years with a lease back and tie yourself on the very much long-term.
Very, very quick. Based on your question, I give you opportunity. I saw Tan Sri Michael Yeo coming in. Now he also very keen on blockchain. I'm going to make a change, called permit change, and I'll make every room in this room all a millionaire.
Oh.
So if you join our change.
Okay.
So this is something not joking. After we listen to all this, in fact, actually the world is going for a change. We have to really initiate 链改币改 blockchain, and then I don't know this term I use from I learned from this young technology guy. Every company we must go for a change after COVID-19 and think of the blockchain technology. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're coming to the end of the session. The next session will be 11:30. Thank you very much, all the panelists, for the insightful. I think you may not get the direct answer whether we are at the bottom or we are climbing up or we are still going down. It is difficult answer. I think it's not all the sector the same. You have opportunity during a coffee break. Please tap the brain and find out more information. Then you make your own conclusion and analysis. Thank you very much. Thank you.